You know what, Jodi, since you mentioned road trips, and this is human happy hour and getting to know, like, can you talk about some of your favorite road trips and where you like to go?
You've taken a lot of road trips?
You know what? Listen, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so my little stats here is I've driven across the country and back. I think it's like 14 or 15 times at this point. My coolest fact, or my favorite, is that my kids, by the time they started elementary school, had driven back and forth across the country, I think 6 times. So that was really good.
Wow.
I used to tell my kids, like, hey, guess what? And of course, they're like 4 at this time. And I'm telling you, like, whatever. But, I'm like, someday you're going to be in school and you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be reading out of a book and you're going to open it up to whatever it is, the Grand Canyon, the Petrified Desert, these different things. And you're going to say, I went there, so these things that everybody else is reading about in books, you're actually going to have experienced. And I like that a lot about traveling with my kids because it's that kind of experiential learning. But I have to say, like, I guess I like every place that I've been. I've actually been to, as of like 5 years ago, I had been to every single continental U.S. state except for Alaska. Never been to Alaska, and it's on my bucket list, y'all. Alaska, I'm coming for you. No, but so I have like kind of a story for every state, and I guess like my favorite stories, and believe me, I have my stories, but my favorite stories are like experiences that happen to me along the way, right? I think that they're not so much like about the destination, but about things that happen along the journey. So here's a good one. Okay. So I got pulled over in the middle of the night. This is actually a really funny one because I got pulled over in the middle of the night in Montana, of all places. Because Montana, I think we all know the speed limit is like 90 or something, or 80 or whatever it is. It is insane. You can't get pulled over.
What the hell were you doing
in Montana? But I did. I got pulled over, right? Or let me put it this way. I got pulled over because here I am. I'm driving in the middle of the night by myself. I think at this point it was 11 o'clock at night, right? And I'm driving, by myself. I hardly saw anybody else on the road, I think I was on my way to Seattle or California or something like that. And so I'm driving and all of a sudden I see like, the single light, whatever going off, and I pull over and this guy walks up, and it was really like, looking back at it afterwards, I'm thinking like, okay, you'll see. So anyway, but this guy pulls me over and he says, hesitate to say officer because I don't know, but he pulled me over and he looks like he's dressed like, an officer and stuff like that. And he like pulls out this little pad, whatever. And he's like, you were going, whatever. It was something stupid. It was like, you're going like 84 and an 80 or something like that. And all I'm thinking at that point is like, I have out of state plates. Like people in other states love to pull people over who have like whatever, who have out of state plates because, you're stuck there. You're like, you have to whatever. But the crazy thing about this situation was that he told me that I had to pay my fine right away. So what he told me was that either I had to pay him cash right now. Anyone from Montana, tell me if this is real. Because I'm thinking, I was shocked. And I'm going, all right, I'm driving across the country by myself. I have like X amount of money that is literally from like the gas calculator online. This is how much you're going to need and all of this stuff. So I had very little amount of money. Plus the gas prices had gone through the roof. So like at that point, I was already behind, and I'm going $40, but I had to hand him $40 right then, or else he was apparently going to throw me in jail and tow my car and all of this stuff. And I'm alone on a highway in Montana where you literally can't see any other lights. And I don't think I've been through a city in like 20 miles, but okay. I guess that's what I'm doing. He's got this little pad of paper and he's writing stuff on it, but he doesn't ever even hand me a ticket. He just takes like $40.
Sounds like that's not an actual.
This is what I'm saying. But here's the beautiful part of all of my stories, because they all have a wonderful ending. So everything leads to something. Even if you think it's crap, it always leads to some like good experience. So case in point, I'm like, okay, I am not driving anymore in Montana. I'm finding the next town. I don't care what the next exit is, but I'm getting off. I had this habit where like I would go to even like, say it was like a trucking company, and I'd like park in between trucks, like my little car in between trucks. So like I felt safe, like just like, okay, I'm going to sleep here or whatever. But anyway, so I figured I was going to do something like that. But what do I pull into but this tiny little town where it's like literally you drive 2 minutes and you're through the town and you're like out into the middle of nowhere. So this town has a general store. It has a post office. It has, I don't remember what else. Those are the only 2 things that I remember, but in a saloon. And my favorite, because I play pool. I got trophies behind the green screen. But anyway, I have to throw that in there every once in a while because I only have so much to brag about in my life. But anyway, so I love shooting pool. And I'm thinking, oh, this is great because I drive by this place and it's literal saloon doors. Right. So it's like the doors that you see in movies where you like push open these two, swinging doors and whatever, guns out or something. And so I see people playing pool inside, or I saw a pool table. I don't remember but I saw that there was pool and I was like, okay, well, I am passing out in this town. So, but it's a small town. And of course I have these kind of like things where I want to be careful about stuff and single, at this point, 19, 20-year-old girl driving across the country by myself or something. And so I'm like, okay, so I turn back around at this. I mean, the street was like, it was much shorter than my own street, but that was the whole town. But anyway, so I come back. It actually had a sign in it. And it had one of those like population signs. I think it was like in the hundreds. But anyway, so whatever. But I turn back around and I go to like the only place where there's actual cars, because there's like a postal Jeep, not like a professional, but it's like a Jeep, right? That has the post office symbol on the side of it, right? So there's postal Jeep. And then there was like another car and I was like, or another whatever box truck or something like that. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to park in between these two cars because like, you don't see me here, right? I'm freaked out, but I don't want to like whatever. And I walk around to this saloon. And so I go into the saloon. The saloon was awesome. There were like 4 people in it and we shot pool all night. My favorite part was that no money was exchanged. Like that was the funny part about it. No money was exchanged because in this small town, it's all just like everybody, you just got to tally. This is your bill. This is your, what do they call it? Not your tab. All right, you got your tab, but everybody pays it at the end of the week when you get paid. That's the whole thing, or you pay down a little bit or whatever. It's set up that way because there's no money exchanged in this whole situation. So like everybody's buying me drinks, but it just goes on their tab and I don't know, whatever. I thought it was really cool. And then, so I'm having a blast. It's, for like 2 hours or something like that, drinking with these folks. I don't know what I was thinking was going to happen at the end of the night. Like, where did people think I was going to go? You know what I mean? Now that I've had a few, you know what I mean? Like, am I going to get back on the highway? I don't know what I thought other people were thinking. I guess I wasn't thinking that clearly at that point, but I go back to my car. And sandwiched in between the postal Jeep and the, box truck or whatever. And I'm just okay. And I go to sleep. Next morning, I get woken up at like 5:30 in the morning, only a couple hours later by like knocking on my window. And I look up and it's the postman because there's only like 150 people in this thing. And the postman, of course, is somebody who I was playing pool with.
Right.
It was so funny. And but the beauty of it is that like, something crappy happened with this police officer. Now I honestly don't even think it was a police officer. I think it was somebody who was just, a scammer, whatever. Okay. But I lived through this story. So that's wonderful if that was the case. And because of that made me stop and say, okay, I want to stop the next place. And the next place happens to be this tiny little town in Montana. And I got to hang out. It happened to have a pool table. So I got to hang out with all of these people, it's just all of the kind of things that come together for an experience that you'll never forget. I will never see these people before. Facebook did not exist at that time, but I got to have that experience of, just meeting different characters and having this kind of just weird, experience for, adventure for an evening and then like move on and okay, cool. And what I think is best about that, not to be like long-winded or anything, but to bring it back to the idea of like, traveling with my kids when they were younger, like we did that by necessity. I couldn't get childcare. I couldn't afford childcare. So like I was going to be home with kids anyway. So like, if you're going to be home with the kids anyway, and whatever, then okay, you might as well be traveling. So like, yeah, that was part of it. It was kind of just like, okay, there's something to do. But the other part of it is that I feel like my kids, even now, if you talk to them, they could talk to anybody. They could have a conversation with anybody. They have a different, perspective because they have met so many different people and talked to so many different people and experienced so many different, even within, America and the different kind of flavors, and the different attitudes and the different atmospheres and stuff like that. And they have this kind of well-rounded perspective, in my opinion, you know what I mean? To be able to understand people and that kind of stuff. And hold on, but just to bring it back to Square, just to bring it back to Walmart, as if we didn't want to get away from that conversation. This is one of the things that bothers me the most about it is when you're driving around, you experience the different the different subcultures around America. You know what I mean? Like there's different areas. And now with things like Walmart, all you have is like these, Boston is like lobster or whatever. And so you have like all of this made in China, Boston, lobster merchandise and stuff like that. It's like we've taken the flavor of these places and commercialized it because places like Walmart just want to have something that is like, it's like the tokenization of all these beautiful subcultures that we have in the United States. And so I think, anyway, I don't know how to wrap that up with a bow, but same idea.